Good evening, everyone. We're so excited for you all to be here tonight. This is our second annual internship showcase, and we're really excited. If you didn't get a chance to check in, this just checks you into Handshake, and we're going to actually give you we're going to be handing out prizes tomorrow to random winners that attended tonight. So tonight is really special to Monica and myself. So I'm Carrie Silverstock. I'm the director of the Career Center, and Monica is our Career and Service Learning Manager. And we are a team of two in our Career Center, but our really kind of motto is to dream big. And Chris took this picture on his internship last summer in Boston, and I think it just really encapsulates what we try to do with our students, and we hope that tonight's speakers will help you dream a little bigger as well. So this summer, we had literally, again, internships all over the globe. And this is just a few of the cities that our interns were in. And you're going to get to hear stories from 10 of our over 50 interns. So this is a shout out. If you're here, if you're one of our interns that's here, please stand up. So I'm not going to read all the names, but please stand up if you're here. And some of you are not standing up. I can see. If you intern, please stand up. Yeah, we want to congratulate you on. And these are a few, we're not going to be able to read all the companies where our students intern, but this is just a few of the companies where all of our students were, and this is the actual list. So as I mentioned, tonight you're going to be hearing from our students about their summer internships and the ups and the downs and the ins and the outs. And then also Monica and I will be sharing a few tips and tricks as you start thinking about your internship while you're at Principia. We also want to send a huge thank you to all these people, the Advancement Office, the Alumni Office, the Alumni Board, the Registrar's Office, our faculty and staff, the Dean's Office, and ESPASO. And a special thank you to the Asher Student Foundation, the Principia College classes of 68 and 69, private donors, internship supervisors, and faculty advisors. So we get asked a lot, like, what majors do internships? And literally anyone can do an internship. This summer, these were the majors that did internships, but if you don't see your major up there, do not think you can't do one. For example, we had theater last summer, and if you have a major, you can do an internship. So now I'm going to turn over to our students. You might be wondering, why should I do an internship? Hopefully we will answer that question with our students. So Chris, can you come on up and tell us about your internship this summer?
Hi everyone, I'm back again. I'm just setting my timer. Okay. There we go. So I interned at AU this summer, which is very different from my summer last year where I interned at the Monitor. And I just want to let all students know that you should do an internship because you really learn a lot about yourself, you grow a lot, and you really push yourself out there. But most people are scared of like, hey, how do I start getting an internship? Step one is start applying everywhere, and before you do that, get a resume. Go see Carrie and Monica, or we have career office ambassadors, including myself. We have a team that will help you at any time, even sometimes I've done it at 10 p.m. Come talk with us. We'll help you fix your resume. We'll help you brainstorm how to apply, where to look, how to start looking. The process is not as complicated as it seems. This is not to say it's easy. It is not. It takes time. It takes dedication. You have to work on your resume at least an hour a week. That's the minimum. You should work on your resume. And working with the career office really helped me because they saw all the things that I was missing and all the things that I could add to it. After my internship over the summer, I'm back and I'm about to meet you guys again to redo it again and add whatever I did this summer, just to make sure it's updated, it's fresh, it's clean. It's something an employer would want to look at when I graduate next summer. So the internship process can look scary. It can look like it's a lot. It can look like it's not for you, especially if you have a major that does not require you to do an internship. You might be like, okay, I don't really need it because Principia says I don't need it. Trust me. Where do you think your work experience on that job application is going to come from if you're not actively interning? And if you want to look for internships, we have Intercide, we have Handshake, which are all things you could do. Or, as my brother is about to tell you guys, he got his internship just by speaking up. So, Elvis, you want to talk about that?
Thank you. My name is Elvis, also known as Chris's brother. Sorry, I'm not good with that. Yeah, so this is Big White Sky. Big White Sky is a company I met through a field trip. My PR class went on a field trip to Big White Sky to learn about public relations, and I was kind of doing stuff with student government. I had just been elected student body president, and I liked the work they do, and so I talked to the CEO of the company called Elliot. I think this is Elliot right here. And asked him to come do what he did here. And we had like faculty, we had staff, we had the president, we have donors, student government just all do this session called evaporation, which I think was very helpful to me. And then after a little bit, I was like, man, I don't want to be on campus, to be honest, this summer. I want to go out, I want to work outside. And so I emailed Elliot and I was like, hey, Elliot, do you have any internships at Big White Sky? And he said, no, I don't have any. But when I met you, I really liked you, and so I'll make something happen. After a few months, I got a text like, hey, Elvis, this is Jeremy. Elliot introduced me. We'd love for you to work here. I don't even think I did an interview. I think I did like a 5-minute phone call. But that experience taught me the power of networking, the power of just going and saying hi, going and seeing if that other person has something to offer, getting to know someone else. And I've been using that skill to this day. If you meet me, I'll probably say hi to you. If I didn't say hi to you, I didn't see you. So I would like to encourage all students to, if you're in a situation, even after this, during the social thing, you never know, Emmanuel Tekia might be a CEO somewhere, and he might give you a next internship, and don't be afraid to send that email. Like, my LinkedIn is just me sliding in DMs asking for internships, because it's all a numbers game. The more internships you apply to, the higher your chances of getting an internship. It's just the way the world works. And so my message would be, don't be afraid to network, don't be afraid to talk to someone. It doesn't matter who that person is, just get to know them. They might know someone who's an uncle who owns something, so. Yeah, and up next, you'll hear from Gloria, who also had an amazing experience.
Yes, so my internship journey was actually kind of funny. I had given up. It was late April, and I was on my way to my teachers for meeting about the next year's schedule. I'd given up completely. I sent in like 100 different applications, got nothing in return. And then when I walked in, she was actually catching up with someone who is part of this nonprofit, Euphrates. And she said she'd introduce her to me, and I was like, oh my gosh, yes. And so I had 5 minutes to kind of give this elevator pitch, which I'm so grateful Carrie prepared me for it in this class I took. And for those 5 minutes, I talked about my passions, why I like sociology, and from that, she said, send me your resume, and we'll talk. And before I knew it, I was an intern, which was a brand new role. They never had an intern before, so that was amazing. And after that, I've just had the opportunity to connect with a lot of people. So Euphrates is a global nonprofit, and so people from all the way in India to here in the US, they connect their peace builders, and I had the amazing opportunity to get to meet all of them, talk with them, network, meet professors who are working on peace building theory, which for a sociologist is amazing. And so just learning how to network, learning how to be prepared to accept an opportunity when it comes to you is really important, which includes being ready for those elevator pitches and also being ready with your resume. So next we have Christian and Parker at America's Central Port.
Okay. Just, oh yeah. Just like Gloria, I had a really hard time finding an internship because I was that close twice to sign a contract with two different companies, one in North Carolina in sales and another one in Michigan in a startup. But at the very end, they both didn't work out. So I was kind of giving up, like Gloria. But at the end, through the business department, I was able to find an internship at America Central Port, which is one of the biggest companies in the Midwest for transportation and transportation of goods and services. I did a phone call with the president and it worked immediately, so I was super glad of that and ready to start. My highlights of this internship were that I deal with a $1 million issue with a customer, and I was able, through my work, of recovering $125,000. And then I had the chance to work for a federal grant application, and that was really fun. I really enjoyed it. Also, I found a way to track the utilities consumption of the company, since they have a lot of houses in their property. I was able to find a new way to track their utilities. I really loved this experience because it opened up a new path for my career I'd like to pursue. Indeed, I'm working with Monica and Carrie now to become a business consultant or an auditor, and that was really helpful to discover this new journey. And now Parker is going to share his own experience.
Hello. So like Christian, I worked at America Central Port. They gave us a little office together, and it was really nice. So I was specifically on the financial side of the business. I was their finance and accounting intern. So coming in, they had a few tasks set up for me. And before I got the internship, like a few others have mentioned, I wanted to quit. The internship process is a real grind. And if you want one, I would suggest applying right now for the summer, as early as possible. So like Christian, it was just a phone call, and the guy pretty much offered us the internship right after the phone call, so it kind of seemed like a fairy tale considering all the drama that went into getting other internships. But once we got there, it was a lot of fun, and they set up tasks for us right away. So my first week there, they gave me the task of investing $3 million for them in short-term money market securities. So we basically loaned out $3 million, and then that whoever we loaned it out to would have to pay us back principal plus interest. And then I did some debt coverage ratios, so I had to just check to make sure we were able to pay back our loans. And then we pretty much got any other tasks thrown at us because Christian and I were able to knock out most of the projects pretty quickly. And it was really just a fun experience, and I'd suggest if you do get an internship this summer, make the most out of it. Get to be friends with everybody, because after the internship's over, you may have a job at the end of it. Thank you.
And that's the perfect segue. Parker touched on the fact that right now is the time to be applying for your summer 2024 internships, and he's exactly right. So here's a great visual for anyone out there who's thinking of an internship for next summer. And you'll see, find an internship is in February, but that means that you are finding the internship, you're identifying it right now, so in the fall. So you're, doing the work right now to get your tools ready, your resume, your LinkedIn, your handshake, get everything ready so that you can start, networking. A lot of the internships were found by knowing somebody or meeting somebody. Those interactions are so key in finding a great internship. And so be doing that right now. Work with our office. We're really approachable and fun to work with, I think. So we'd love to talk to you about what you're hoping to do and dream big. We love, thinking of ideas with you of, if you haven't thought of what you want to do yet, we love helping you get there. So
So yeah, right now is the time to be doing that work so that you can be ready in February to fill out that application that's due in March. So I'll turn it over now to, who's next? Julie. Come on up, Julie.
Good evening, everyone. This summer, I got to work as an industrial hygienist at Milipo Sigma. Milipo Sigma is a pharmaceutical company that produces drug therapies for cancer, and they needed someone who would perform tests on people to make sure they're not exposed to various chemicals in the environment. And last year, I also did an internship, which was an engineering internship, but I must say it was like a prerequisite to prepare me for this next internship because I got to learn about air sampling techniques, which got transferred in this internship. And then in this internship, I also got to learn a lot about myself. Like, for instance, I need to work on my public speaking. And every time you go for internship, you get to learn something new about yourself. And then something else I would like to encourage everyone is that every time you look for an internship, the experience is different. Like my first internship, I got a job like after 2 interviews. But this next internship I can't count how many interviews I went for. So just because the first internship it was easy, it doesn't mean like it will be easier in the next one. So make sure you perfect your skills and don't feel like something is wrong with you every time like you look for a job. It got to my head at one point. I felt like, oh, last year I was ready, this year I don't know what's wrong. So keep improving every time. I would like now to invite Emmanuel Tequila.
Yep. Good evening. This is me sitting in my suite office at the Mother Church. It's the 3rd floor. So this summer I was an intern at the Mother Church as a general publication and product management intern. It was a great experience. I've interned at the Mother Church in the past, but it was online. So being there in person was really different. So I was really exposed to many fields of product management. I got to learn how the general publication as a department came up with the product. And I'm going to point out something. The classes that we take here at Principia are very useful. Right before my internship, I was taking 2 classes with Peter Tosto, who is a business teacher. I was taking innovation and business analytics. And those 2 classes, I am not sure if I didn't take those, maybe I wouldn't be doing what I was doing during my internship. Because basically what I did was being part of the team that makes product at the Mother Church. So during my internship, I produced 3 ebooks, which are now live on Christian Science Shop online. And I'm again grateful because I took Intro to Programming, even if I was not that good, but the skill I got really helped me to know how to navigate programs like HTML and CSS coding. And based on the innovation things I took from the class with Peter, it actually helped me to talk to customers, implement feedbacks from the product and make the product that actually satisfy the needs of the customers. And that's a really good highlight because we did it in classrooms, and at first I thought they were just theories, but I got to practice them there in the office. And last, I think it's so useful to talk to people. Over 11 weeks, I met with 10 aides of different departments. I was going in lunch with them. And the good point with talking to people is it's kind of, you are selling yourself. They need to know what you are able to do. They need to know the skills that you have. If you don't do it, no one will know what you are able to do. So this exposure to talking to people actually was so helpful because I'm seeing myself as a product manager sometimes. So talking to people who are doing this on a regular basis was so useful. And yeah, you know, many people have said that it's not too early to start. Please go meet Carrie, talk to people on LinkedIn. Don't just spend your life, you know, going through TikTok and so on. Go and talk to people. Thank you. Oh, sorry, I should say it's next.
Okay, so this summer I was lucky enough to intern at the Danforth Plant Science Center in St. Louis, which is a nonprofit institution that focuses on agricultural science. And my program was called a Research Experience for Undergraduates, which is funded by the National Science Foundation. And they have these programs all around the U.S. at different institutions. And they have them for all the different sciences. So if you're in the sciences, I highly recommend looking out for these REUs. My internship was really great. I got to work on my own project, looking at alternative ways to fight fungal diseases in crops. I got to do my own experiments, use equipment that I never would have been able to use here, and to learn a lot of applicable skills. And it was also really great learning about all the different other projects they're doing at the center and at other companies, so I can learn what other kinds of research I would like to pursue in the future. And I also got to present at a formal symposium, and that experience was really great. Presenting in front of a professional setting was something I hadn't done before, and it was a little daunting at first, but having gotten that out of the way, now I know, like, next time in a different job, I'll feel a lot more confident in that situation. And the work that they do at the Danforth Center was super inspiring to me, because it's all about improving the way that we feed the world and feeding the growing and changing world as we deal with climate change. And so I felt inspired to continue pursuing this work in my future career, and it really guided my career choices and what I envisioned for myself in the future. And now I think that I definitely want to pursue graduate school for an advanced degree in biology, so I can continue doing research like I did at the Danforth Center. And next up, Carrie will talk about the Internship Award Fund.
And I'm learning new things that our interns did this summer. So this has been really fun, and hopefully you all are putting all of that in your resume. So in any case, one thing that we love about Principia and our office is we have an internship award fund. So maybe you find this great opportunity and it's in another country, or maybe it is only going to give you a living stipend and you're like, I don't know how I'm going to pay for this. I don't know how I can buy the tickets and make this all work. Well, we have a special award fund that you can apply for. So I'm not going to, go into all the nitty-gritty details, but I think it's really important for you all to know that this is here, so it doesn't stop your dreams from happening. Another few resources that we have, hopefully you all know about Handshake. The QR code that you used to scan in was actually on Handshake. Handshake is a really important tool where you can find jobs and internships all over the country. It changes literally every day. If it doesn't seem to be working for you, you probably don't have your algorithms right. Chris is a master at kind of getting those algorithms in Handshake, and he's really talks about how he's gotten it to work for him, where it should be sending you stuff that you're really interested in. LinkedIn is so powerful, and we have found that a lot of college students are not using it or don't know how, and so we love to kind of teach you again how you can really leverage LinkedIn, and also leverage the power of the LinkedIn algorithms, where even, we've taken special classes, so we've learned where to put certain keywords in your profile so you can get noticed online and get connected with the right people on LinkedIn. And finally, InnerStride. How many of you have tried InnerStride in our audience? This is being underutilized. I see like a couple hints. So InnerStride is a great tool that you have access to with your Principia email account. And if you are planning to work abroad, or if you are an international student, you should be using InnerStride. So for our international students, it has webinars, it has resources, tools on visas and how to find work in the US. If you want to travel and work in another country, you can use their country insights and get
tips that way. So these are just a few of the things that we wanted to talk about that we have in our office. We have a couple more students that are going to share their stories, and then we are going to open it up for Q&A. So Paige is going to come up and share a little bit about her business internship.
Okay, so like many of them have talked about, I'm going to start out by talking about how important networking is. My boss and the owner of this company, I actually played select basketball with his daughter when I was in 8th grade, so 8 years ago. And then Romero, our women's basketball coach, called his wife whenever I was in there complaining about internships, and she said, okay, she's hired. Didn't even tell Gary that I was coming, but it's fine. So I went there, and it was honestly the best experience I've ever had. I did a lot of market studies, so I would drive around the area, find spaces. I was leasing commercial spaces for businesses. So I'd find a space, and I would have to do a lot of phone calls, calling off signs and things like that. And I would call these agents' phone, their cell phone, their office phone. I would email them, I would text them every single day, and some of them still never answered. But I would go into my boss, I'd be like, hey, these people still haven't answered me, so I can finish my analysis. He'd call, and within 2 rings, they were picking up. And it's like, he said it all the time. He goes, you just don't have the right name. So it is very important. And then some highlights that I have from being an intern was I got to go to South Carolina twice, which was pretty cool, working with Hardee's, the fast food restaurant. We are franchisees of Slim Chickens and Freddy's, so I got to learn a little bit on the real estate side of fast food, which was interesting. I did accept a job with them, so I will be flying out to Las Vegas 3 days after I graduate to do a big conference, and that was my experience. So Leah's going to talk about hers.
Hello, I am Leah, and my internship this summer was in Merida, Mexico, which is in the Yucatan Peninsula of Mexico. And as a global studies and Spanish major, this was really perfect for me to be in such a culturally rich area that was so different from my own and be totally immersed in Spanish and getting to practice all of these skills that I've been learning in my classes the last few years. So I worked at a bee sanctuary called Bechi, and they care for over 5 different types of bees at the sanctuary, all native species of Mexico. And not only do they care for the bees, but they also sell the medicinal honey that these bees produce. And so I got to do a couple things that I really, really loved, like one, being able to speak Spanish every single day. The only person there that spoke English was my boss, but she was really dedicated to having me learn Spanish, so I had to push myself a lot in that area, and although it was really difficult, it was a really valuable experience learning how to deal with those intercultural and language barriers, and I improved greatly throughout my 6 weeks there. And then also I got to spend a lot of time outside in nature, which I loved. That was really important to me. It was such a peaceful place to work, and I was really grateful to spend so much time there. I also got to translate a lot of documents for the company, which was really valuable to me because I'm really interested in translating work. And I think the most exciting part of the job was harvesting the honey of the bees. I came at the perfect time of the year during their harvesting season, and we reviewed every single one of the hives on the property, and I got to partake in the really careful skill of harvesting the honey from the hives and selling it. So the last thing that I want to say to you all is that it may seem really intimidating and complicated to try and do an internship in another country, but I will tell you, it was actually ridiculously easy. The application and the process of getting accepted to this internship was super easy, and it's one that I had been looking at for a really long time, and I was finally able to get there with the help of the Career Center and my professors. And so it is not something that would be hard for you at all. So just want to say to you all to dream big and go for it. Thank you.
So before we open it up for Q&A, we just wanted to kind of share a couple students that have gotten jobs, and it was really fun to hear some of our students have already gotten jobs. Some of you might know Del Weiss, who just graduated in January, and he did an internship at Intuit, which is a big computer company in California, and he is now working there. Robbie Robison did a engineering internship in 2022, and he's now employed at Arco Construction in St. Louis. And Ure just graduated, and she did an internship at Core Maine last year, and she's now employed at Fontbonne University as a communications specialist. So we could share a lot of stories like this, but that is one of like the big reasons why it is such a good idea to think about doing an internship, is they will lead you to employment. If not at that company or location, it will give you the skills and confidence to get a job somewhere else. So again, we want to do a shout out to all of our summer interns. Here they all are. So congratulations. And now we're going to have, our speakers are going to come up, and if any of our other interns are here and want to come up, you're welcome to, but we're going to open it up to the audience for questions. So you all can come up. And we have 2 people with mics, and they're going to be, so if you just want to stand up or raise your hand, and they'll bring a mic to you. And I'll put this. Don't be shy in the audience. I know you have a question. Chris, I'm going to put you on the spot. Can you think of a question that you had when you were a freshman about internships?
He has a question.
Who? Oh, you have a question?
I have a question for
Yeah.
somebody.
Yeah. Go for
I was
it.
wondering, Leah, how did you find out about that bee sanctuary internship? I was really wondering.
Is this on? I was searching online, and there's this company called IVHQ, and they do programs all over the globe. And they have been working for many years in helping students get class credit through summer programs and internships through these programs. And I was just looking at their website, and I knew I wanted to work in Mexico. And I knew I wanted to work in Mexico, so I just looked through those programs, and I saw that they had this bee sustainable agriculture program, and I was like, that's it. And then I applied, and it was really easy.
I just wanted to know, what's the shortest amount of time we can do an internship in? Do we only do it in summer, or we could do it over winter breaks as well?
Well, this is where it gets complicated. If you're doing it for any type of credit, so even 0 semester hours, it has to be a minimum of 5 weeks on a break. So winter break or summer break. But during the summer, it could go up to the whole 15 weeks. And especially, that's important, especially for our international students, that if you're getting paid to work somewhere off campus, then you will have to have an internship related to your major. But if you're a domestic student, there's a few people, like Grant didn't officially register his internship with our office in the registrar, but it was like they had an established internship program. So there's probably interns out there that we didn't know about. So it varies, but that's where you can come see us, but that's the basic timeline. But how many of you worked almost the entire summer, like at least 10 weeks or longer? So for that group. Yeah, do you have another question? Oh, you did too. Yeah, you were an intern too. Yes. Yeah.
All right, I have a question. I'm over here. Did any of you guys had like an imposter syndrome? Because at least for me, I know I had one, at least for the first 2 weeks. And if you did so, how did you deal with yours? Because I might not really like the way I dealt with mine, but it went well. So.
Okay. Well, first, can you explain what imposter syndrome is?
I was just explained that imposter syndrome means you don't feel like you deserve it. I think, personally, I took a business internship. I think our business department does a great job preparing us. When I got there, I was like, holy crap, the classes are so much harder than the real life. So, no, I felt like I deserved to be there. I didn't have... I thought they should have just given me a contract right then and there, and I should have graduated and just taken the job.
I respect the confidence. I was complete opposite, actually. I felt like so out of place. Even among the other interns there, I felt like they all had previous research experience at like different labs, or a lot of them did, I felt like. And I just had like a few classes here at Prin, and there was a lot of like new like techniques in the lab that I had no experience with. And so I was like, they were literally showing me how to do every little thing at first, and it was really frustrating, honestly. But as I like built my confidence, I just had to be persistent and be really open to learning, because that's what internships are about. You're not supposed to come in and be a professional at it right away. It's for students, it's for people to learn. And once I realized that, I was more open to letting the internship lead me and show me what I need to do. And in the end, I got really confident, and by the end, I felt like I had not imposter syndrome anymore. So that was good.
I feel like this is a very valid question, because when you read the description of your task when you're applying for an internship, it's so intimidating. You feel like you're going to do so much things you've never done before. But truth is, once you are there on the ground, they actually teach you what to do. So you're not just coming, well, you can know stuff, but they will still teach you how to do it. So I think that was one point that just took away the burden of feeling like, well, I don't deserve to be here, or I don't know how to start with this. They actually teach you, and people, I don't know about other places, but at the Mother Church, people are so loving, and they are there to help you do your task. So I think that was a good way just to take off that feeling.
As far as my internship went, this doesn't even sound like a song. Okay, as far as my internship went, they never treated me as an intern. They called me Paige the intern all the time. Like, that was my contact in most of their phones if I would have called them. But they did not treat me like an intern at all. I hit the ground running. They treated me as if it was like my first day of actual work there. Whenever I was in South Carolina, like I mentioned, meeting with like the real estate people for Hardee's, they actually had a real estate intern of their own, and they were asking my boss, they're like, hey, what do you do with her? How do you deal with her? Like, what should we do for our intern? And Bill was like, just make her do it. There's no way of teaching or saying anything. She just has to hit the ground running. And I feel like that's definitely specific towards my internship, because it was real estate, so that's very niche, and so.
Yeah, for me, I experienced imposter syndrome in a different way. Like, I have a chemistry major, and I had perfected my skills in chemistry. But now, every week I had to speak in front of people. Like, there was a big congregation, like CEO and everyone. So for me, I felt like I was not ready for that area. I had prepared my hard skills, but my soft skills needed improvement.
Well, it's commonly believed that the interview is the hardest part of the process. Is there like any like tricky questions that you guys got during your interview process, and how you dealt with that?
Yeah, so I had a fake interview. It was a phone call with Jeremy, and I expected like, I don't know, like, what do you have to offer to us? Why would we take you, type of thing. But Jeremy asked me like, hey Elvis, what was your first heartbreak? I was like, that's a very weird question. And the thing about me is I could be talking to the President of the United States, I'll still be Elvis, and I'll still be an idiot. And so I told him, Jeremy, I never got heartbroken, I broke hearts. And that just like, it's not true. That blew Jeremy away. He told me that statement right there meant that I speak and do things unusually. He expected like a sad story from high school or from middle school, but the fact that I gave him something different, I think he said impressed him a lot, and it showed him a lot about myself. And so one thing is, during that interview, you can be tempted to practice and rehearse and get your things ready, which is good, but be yourself. Like at the end of the day, you're gonna work, then they're gonna see you be yourself, which they saw me be myself. I'm very goofy. And so, yeah, it was fun.
So I knew my boss, like I said. So going in, I did not have an interview. It was kind of like a go in and meet the staff kind of thing. Well, he made me take a personality test, like a written one, okay? And so I wrote the answers, I totaled up my thing, I sent it back. He came back in and he sat down and he said, "Did you try to scam this test?" I said, "No, it's a personality test. How do you scam a personality test?" He goes, "Well, you scored very odd." And I was like, I didn't know how to take that, and I was joking around, and I was driving home, and I called Romero, the coach, and I was like, "He told me I scammed the personality test." He goes, "Oh, did you tell him you had multi-personality disorder?" So, yeah, they made fun of me the whole time. They said I had multi-personality disorder because I scored ridiculous high on all of the personality questions.
I did want to just share a plug for our office, because we are underutilized in this aspect, but we actually will practice interview questions with you, and a lot of students don't realize that. So I've even had some students all of a sudden, get 2 days, in 2 days they're like, "I have this interview with a really big deal company," and they are panicking. And so literally we do try, like when situations like that come up, we try and move our schedule around and find a time to like practice with you, or at least figure out like how to, get you set up. So the first interview is usually on the phone, but it also depends on industry. There's several industries like engineering, computer science, where they might send you a test first, or I've even had companies where they want you to send a video in or answer video questions, which I've heard it's really weird because you're not talking to a human. But if you have any questions about interviewing, like come and see us and we'll help you start practicing and getting comfortable with it.
I will also say that, is this on? Yes. I'll also say that with the internship process, yes, it's like if it's something like Elvis's where it's like a phone call, that is different. But as a digital media and journalism major, our interviews for jobs are very different and they're very specific. So I would say you need to research the company you're going to. I did an interview with the Monitor last year, and they came in expecting me to know a bunch of things, which thank God I did, because I used Carrie's office and I used my mass comm professors to actually prep me for the interview. So just prepare yourself with what they need. And then this year, actually last year, I did another interview with Goldman Sachs, and they also have very specific things they're looking for in the interview. So the first interview went great. The second interview, I messed up, and they let me know after that I messed up and that they were looking for something specific that I didn't mention. So when you're applying, especially for a corporate job, if that's the area you want to go into, make sure you research your company so that you know, okay, they'll come asking this type of questions and I'm ready for that. Or it's something that I can, not take as seriously and still get the internship I'm looking for.
The other question that I think people can really underestimate, but it comes in many interviews, is showing the ability to connect your past experience to the job you are applying for. Sometimes it's the last thing we expect to get during an interview, but it can show your logical thinking along. Because if you can show the way you can connect your past experiences in your jobs to the job you are currently applying for, you can really make a big difference. And the other thing they told me day one when I got in Boston, they told me, we had good candidates, maybe meeting also your level, but the fact that you applied with very specific letter of motivation for every specific internship, that was a highlight for us. It sounded very professional. And I was, well, thank you, Carrie, because she told me you need to be very specific, and then it's paid off. So if you are applying at the same company within different departments, make sure you don't just copy and paste. make it very specific so it doesn't sound like it's coming from ChatGPT.
This not actually a question, but I just sat here and remembered that I got this weird question. How much do you want us to pay you? So when that comes, at least for me, I didn't know what to say. And I was like, okay, I don't know. But here's the thing. What you want to do, which I learned later, is that you want to know the minimum wage in that state. And also, you want to ask around what people, like the job you're going to do, how much they're paid, just like the people that you might know who are taking that job. Because really, you don't want to say some huge amount and then they'd be like, we are not hiring you for that. And you also don't want to underestimate yourself and say something super low. So that is also something to think about. Just as you get ready for those interviews, just think about that as well.
Ideally, you want them to give you the number first, because if you say a number, then they might have been thinking a bigger number. So, and they'll know that you'll settle for a certain number. But again, that's like a strategy for every job and thing. So if you have questions, you can come talk to us and we'll help you strategize on that. But that, I'm glad you're bringing up salary. One of the things that we didn't talk about yet are our career fairs. So does anyone know what a career fair is? Anyone want to share? Sarah, you can share what it is. You've been to one.
Okay, so the career fairs are basically a bunch of companies come in, and it's usually at SIUE, and a bunch of companies are looking for interns, and it's a very good place to connect, a very good place to learn about internships. I went to both in fall and spring, and in the spring, a company that actually wanted to, like, I asked what I needed, and they were very helpful, and they actually just want you to be yourself and just want to know more about you. So it's a very good place to learn more about companies and more about what you want to do.
Yes, so we have a really special partnership with SIUE Edwardsville. So that's a big university that's down the road. And we are able to go to their career fairs. So in a couple weeks, and if you're interested in going, you can use this QR code and sign up. There's actually 3 fairs. So there's one in IT, there's one for business and kind of general majors, and then there's one for engineering. And if you sign up, we'll tell you the companies that are going to go there. But as Sarah mentioned, like even if you're a freshman, it's a great place to go and start talking to companies and finding out what they need, what they're looking for. They are looking for interns, and they are looking to hire people. So I highly suggest you check it out. I know sometimes people they're from 11 to 2 on these days in October. One of the days happens to be fall break, so there's no classes. But I know sometimes people say, well, I have classes. A lot of professors will release you from class. We've even had some classes go, so it just kind of depends on your teacher, but if you tell them why you want to go to this, we also provide transportation. So I just want to put that plug in, and if you want to update or start your resume, next Wednesday we're going to be in Glass Dining Room number 1 during the free period, during lunch, and we'll be there to help you. So these are like really easy steps. Everyone up here at first had nothing. I mean, maybe they had a resume from high school, but you just have to take that first step. I don't know if anyone has any final words, but we're gonna have like pizza, and last year we had like 70 people here, so there's a lot of pizza over here, so hopefully you're hungry. And we'll all be here, and you can continue to ask questions and enjoy the evening. Anyone want to say anything else? Are we good? All right, well, thank you all for coming.